I'm Roger Baker, Executive Director of the Stratfor Center for Applied Geopolitics at RANE, a global center of excellence for geopolitical intelligence and analysis. Learn how you can put geopolitics to work for your organization at ranenetwork.com.
Welcome to RANE's Essential Geopolitics podcast. My name is Emma, and I'll be your host today. Thailand's May 14th election winner is being denied the ability to form a government, creating government paralysis that delays economic recovery initiatives while risking reinvigoration of the mass protest movement of 2020-2021. Here with me today to discuss this is Nate Fischler, an Asia-Pacific analyst at RANE. Welcome, Nate.
Hi, Emma. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on the podcast. So to start us off, could you give us a brief rundown of the May 14th election?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, this election was a snap election. It was called early on by the incumbent government, who of course were formerly military coup leaders. They overthrew the democratically elected government in 2014, rewrote a constitution in 2019, and became a civilian government. Then called early elections this year. And that was a little odd at the time because their polling wasn't great and they weren't very popular. So their outlook for winning the election wasn't good in the first place. Then the election came about, and surprising to many was the Move Forward Party, which is the most sort of progressive and radical political party in Thailand, because they want to do away with lèse-majesté laws that criminalize the monarchy, criminalize criticism of the monarchy. They sort of had a surprise victory. Them and the Pheu Thai party, the other pro-democracy party, basically swept the elections. So they had a very strong electoral mandate to then come in and form a government. However, the system in Thailand works so that there are two houses of the legislature. One, the House of Representatives, is elected. The Senate, though, is unelected. The senators were appointed by the military-backed government, and the two houses need to both vote together in order to elect a prime minister. And the Senate, being backed by the military, is not very keen on supporting the Move Forward Party candidate, and therefore is doing what it can institutionally to prevent him from ascending to office.
If the Move Forward Party can't form a government, what are its options?
Right. Well, it's looking, day by day here, it's less and less likely that the Move Forward Party can form a government. So to your question, it's very unlikely at this point. Peter Limjaroenrat was defeated last week on July 13th in the first prime ministerial vote. They were supposed to have the second one on July 19th, but they voted not to hold the vote at all. And then PETA was suspended by the Constitutional Court as a lawmaker pending their verdict on a complaint brought against him about the unconstitutionality of his holding shares in a media company while running for office. So there's another legal challenge against his party, the Move Forward Party broadly. So you have two legal challenges. They're being stalled in the legislature. So basically the chances that the Move Forward Party forms a government at this point are very, very slim. However, there are options, as you alluded to. Pheu Thai, the other coalition partner, will most likely step forward to lead the coalition. The military establishment and some moderate parties that are outside the military establishment can probably live with the Pheu Thai party because they don't have such a radical view of reforming the lèse-majesté laws. They will be able to probably be able to form a coalition with some of these parties that had refused to work with the Move Forward Party. So if we're going to see some version of the election results being reflected in the new government, it will come from the Pheu Thai party, basically. So I think that's the most likely scenario going forward is Pheu Thai now. The spotlight is on them to step forward and lead this sort of beleaguered pro-democracy movement.
Okay, and will we see renewed social unrest because of this?
Right. Just touching a little bit on the recent history in 2020, a very similar thing transpired with the Move Forward Party's predecessor party, the Future Forward Party, named similarly. That party was banned on a technicality. Its candidate similarly disqualified, and that sparked major unrest and protests that lasted intermittently for months, mostly in Bangkok, but all over the country. So the risk here is a repeat of that type of situation. And in 2020, the Move Forward Party had not won the election, but they did win the election this time. So this might suggest that there's more popular support for the Move Forward Party, and this might spur renewed unrest. We're already seeing protests around some of the emblematic sites in Bangkok, the Democracy Monument, the National Assembly building, the Constitutional Court building. These protests thus far have remained orderly. The protest leaders are actively encouraging activists to remain orderly, to not set fires, to clean up after themselves, to not commit acts of violence or vandalism. So there is some tension there as the protest movement is already reinvigorated, but it's undertaking efforts to restrain itself in order to avoid a hard crackdown by the authorities, who are also prepared for this eventuality. The police are on standby. The special operation had been announced to protect these sites. Some buildings are off limits to protesters for the safety of the authorities. So yes, there's definitely the possibility of renewed social unrest. The more brazen the military establishment gets in sort of suppressing the democratic outcome of the election, the more likely it is the protests intensify. So things are still in flux here. They're still fluid. And we will see to what extent the military establishment really leans into the institutional controls it has to control this outcome, or if some sort of compromise is reached with the Pheu Thai party, which would lessen the likelihood of mass social violent unrest. So these are the things we're watching for going forward, and it's very much a situation in flux.
Well, thanks for sharing these insights, Nate. I'm sure we'll kind of continue to follow this as it develops. You can learn how geopolitical events like this could affect your business with RANE Worldview. Our flagship risk intelligence products provide clients with access to the insights and analyses they need to make more informed decisions and drive better risk management outcomes. Sign up at ranenetwork.com. That's RANE network.com. I'm Emma Kami. Thanks for listening.